In the late 1970s, a charismatic and self-proclaimed prophet named Roch Thériault gathered a small group of followers in Quebec, Canada. They called themselves the Anthill Kids, and they believed that the end of the world was near. They left behind their families, jobs, and possessions and followed Thériault to a remote commune in the wilderness where they hoped to live in harmony and freedom. But what started as a utopian dream soon turned into a nightmare of abuse, torture, and murder. This is the story of Roch Thériault and the Anthill Kids, one of the most brutal and disturbing cults in Canadian history. Roch Thériault was born in 1947 in a devout Catholic family. He had a troubled childhood, marked by violence and aggression. He dropped out of school in the 7th grade and began to study the Old Testament on his own. He developed a strong hatred for the Catholic Church and a fascination with the apocalypse. He claimed that God had spoken to him and revealed that a war between good and evil would destroy the world in 1979. He also declared himself a prophet and adopted the name Moïse, the French version of Moses. In 1977, Thériault joined the Seventh-day Adventist Church, a Christian denomination that emphasizes the imminent return of Jesus Christ and the observance of the Sabbath. He soon became a charismatic leader and attracted a group of followers who shared his beliefs and fears. He convinced them to abandon their worldly ties and join him in a new religious movement. He called them the Anthill Kids, a name inspired by the biblical proverb, "Go to the ant, thou sluggard, consider her ways and be wise." The Anthill Kids moved to a secluded plot of land in the Somerville township of Quebec, where they built a makeshift commune. They lived in tents, cabins, and trailers, and survived on farming, hunting, and donations. They followed a strict vegetarian diet and avoided alcohol, tobacco, and drugs. They also practiced polygamy, as Thériault claimed that God had instructed him to take multiple wives and concubines. He fathered 26 children with 9 different women, some of whom were as young as 14. Thériault ruled the Anthill Kids with an iron fist. He claimed to have direct communication with God and demanded absolute obedience from his followers. He controlled every aspect of their lives, from their daily activities to their personal relationships. He also imposed harsh punishments for any perceived disobedience or sin. He would beat them with belts, hammers, axes, or any other weapon he could find. He would force them to mutilate themselves or each other, sometimes with knives, pliers, or blowtorches. He would make them eat feces, dead animals, or rotten food. He would humiliate them, degrade them, and sexually assault them. He would also perform crude and barbaric surgeries on them without anesthesia or sterilization, claiming to have divine healing powers. The Anthill Kids commune gradually deteriorated into a hellish environment. The living conditions were squalid and unsanitary. The food was scarce and contaminated. The followers were malnourished, diseased, and traumatized. Some of them tried to escape, but Thériault would track them down and bring them back, often with more violence and abuse. Some of them died from his torture or his botched medical procedures. Some of them killed themselves or each other, unable to bear the suffering any longer. Thériault's reign of terror finally came to an end in 1989, when one of his followers, Gabrielle Lavallee, managed to escape and alert the authorities. She had been one of his favorite wives, but she had also endured some of the worst atrocities. Thériault had cut off her arm, smashed her head with an axe, and removed 8 of her teeth with a pair of pliers. She also had a large hole in her stomach, where Thériault had tried to remove an ulcer with a kitchen knife. The police raided the Anthill Kids commune and arrested Thériault. They also rescued the remaining followers and children who were in a state of shock and horror. Thériault was charged with multiple counts of assault, aggravated assault, and bodily harm. He was also charged with the murder of Solange Boilard, one of his followers who had died in 1988 after he had tried to cure her diarrhea by slicing open her abdomen and flushing it with water. He pleaded guilty to the murder charge and received a life sentence, with no possibility of parole for 25 years. He was also convicted of the other charges and received additional sentences totaling 63 years. He was sent to a maximum security prison in New Brunswick, where he was shunned and despised by the other inmates. Thériault spent the last 22 years of his life behind bars, where he showed no remorse or repentance for his crimes. He continued to claim that he was a prophet and that God had forgiven him. He also continued to receive letters and visits from some of his former followers who still believed in him and hoped for his release. He was denied parole in 2002 and 2008 as he was deemed too dangerous and delusional to be reintegrated into society. He was killed in 2011 when another inmate stabbed him in the neck with a shiv, reportedly as a revenge for his abuse of women and children. He was 63 years old. The Anthill Kids survivors have struggled to rebuild their lives after their ordeal. Many of them have suffered from physical and psychological trauma, such as post-traumatic stress disorder, depression, anxiety, and addiction. Some of them have also faced legal and financial difficulties, as they had no identification, education, or work experience. Some of them have tried to reconnect with their families, while others have preferred to remain anonymous. Some of them have sought therapy and support, while others have turned to religion or spirituality. Some of them have forgiven Thériault, while others have hated him. All of them have tried to move on, but none of them have forgotten. The Anthill Kids' former commune is now a ghost town, abandoned and forgotten by the world. The buildings are dilapidated and overgrown. The belongings are scattered and decayed. The graves are unmarked and uncared for. The only traces of the Anthill Kids are the memories and the scars that they left behind. They are a reminder of the dark and twisted side of human nature and the dangers of blind faith and obedience. They are also a reminder of the resilience and courage of the human spirit and the hope for healing and recovery. They are the legacy of Roch Thériault and the Anthill Kids, a cult that shocked and horrified a nation.